Yeah, today I will walk you through creating an assessment on LikertAI and just showing how simple it is. So before I start, let me just go and share this screen. So here, it's just to make it clear on how the personas work, so that it would make it easier to understand how the system works. So if you look at this, you have an organization. We can call this person Michael. And so Michael is like the account holder of the system, and he would basically create the surveys and then look at the reports. And then if you look at Emily, which is a participant, so she would basically be a survey taker. I just wanted to show these two personas so that it would make it a little bit more clear when I'm running through the demo. So going back to the assessment center, I just want to walk through how this would actually happen. Michael, which is the organization user, will kind of log into the portal. So the intent here would be to create an assessment for users to fill out. So you would start by going to assessments, and you'll see that currently there's no assessment found for Michael. You would go and create a new assessment. Now there's a way to do it manually, or we could use this AI feature to build an assessment. Let's use this AI builder. So here you would define your industry role. So for these Likert scales, you could basically create any type of Likert assessment. So industry role that you have to specify here, it's going to depend on what the type of assessment you want to create. So let's say we are HR manager. What to test, you could basically provide to test anything here, but let's just say organizational cultural audit is the type of assessment that you want here. You could add any additional requirements here, and that would basically just be more detail on what you want to have in the assessment. So very simple to do that. After that, you could say constructs, constructs, and questions, how many you want of those. So I'll go into a little bit detail more on what that means, but it's basically groups, a group, and then subgroups or sections, and then how many questions you want. So you'll see here that it's going to create 5 groups with 5 questions in each. So let's just go ahead and generate an assessment. So what it's doing behind the scene, it's taking the context that we've provided, and it's building out an assessment, a Likert assessment for you based on what you provided. So this will take a few seconds. And then also mentioning while it's generating it, it would also generate reports for you and ranges. So saying that between 0 and 30, or you would spit out a specific report, this is a different range. So here you can see like it created this assessment for us. The construct that it created was work environment, and then it automatically went and create like sub-constructs. So the first one is supportive management, then it's team collaboration, innovation and change, organizational values, and diversity inclusion. All of these questions relates back to the sub-construct. And then if you click edit details, which I'm not going to do now, but that would give you the ranges for the reports. So based on the scoring, it would spit out a specific report for this sub-construct and for the other ones as well. When you click edit, you can also go and modify these questions to your liking, as well as these naming for the constructs and sub-constructs. You could either use this as is, or you could just use it as an initial guideline to get your Likert scale up and running. So let's go ahead and save this. So the next step here for Michael, the organization user, you'll see that there's one construct, 5 subsections, 25 questions. He can go ahead and then assign this to a specific user to go and complete. So let's go to allocate assessments. You'll see that there's no allocation at this stage. So what we do here is say, okay, if you have more than one, you can select that assessment, and the person I'm assigning it to is Emily, as I discussed before on the screen, that Emily would be assessment taker. So that's the role that Emily has. So let's save this allocation. What happens behind the scene is Emily will receive an email to complete this assessment, and as well as Michael, just to confirm that the assessment has been scheduled. So let's log out. So now, if you think about Emily, the assessment user that just got the email, can log into the system. As she signs in, she lands on her assessment dashboard. So basically, she would just read through these points, and then she'll see that she has an assessment assigned. So she would just go ahead and start this assessment. As you can see here, like it's the questions that was provided by the admin or the AI builder. So let's just step through this. So I'm deliberately going to keep these first 5 questions low, as that is the first construct or sub-construct, and then maybe on this, which looks like it's constructed, I'll just keep it high, and then maybe at 15 I'll just start doing half the time, just to showcase the reporting once it's done. And then maybe good again at the 20 to 25 questions. So after that's done, if Emily, there's a setting where you can say Emily are allowed to watch or look at her report. If she's allowed, she would be able to go in here and see, okay, well, it's been completed. She can look at the report. So this shows Emily's report. If she has multiples, you can just select that. But here you can see there's 3 areas where she did excellent. There's 2 areas where she needs attention. And I deliberately, as I mentioned before, on some of those questions, answered it to a low score versus the other higher scores. And so if you look at this, you can see that in a summary, that she's done excellent in work environment, collaboration, team collaboration, innovation and change, and diversity and inclusion. She did not score well on the first 5 questions, which was work environment, so supportive management, and that will give you some description there. So just some key insights that you can see here as well. And then if you scroll down further, you get the detailed results. So you can see here, the construct was work environment. If we specified more, there would be more constructs. And the sub-constructs is what it kind of throws out there. And then depending on ranges, which you define in the report, it would show a different report. So you can see here that management support is perceived as lacking, which may lead to employee dissatisfaction and hinder professional growth. Versus a report that say, okay, innovation and change. The organization champions innovation and change, embracing new ideas for fostering adaptive culture. So that's basically the take of it. I'll just go back and log into the system with Michael again. So once he completed it, Michael, which is the organization user, will receive an email that she's completed it. He can then basically log in and go to reports. And then when he logged into the thing, he could basically look at the report that was just completed, which is similar to what you can see. If she has that rights. One thing that I just want to point out, like you can see these values for the reporting. If I go back to the actual assessment, and I did touch on that earlier, but just a little bit more detail, you could go and edit this assessment. When you edit it, you see the detail view. So in here, you could see for the first supportive management, which is the first sub-construct, you have the ability to change the questions if you don't like the structure of it. And then you can basically see the ranges that was generated for these sub-constructs. And then you can define the actual reporting that you want. So you can make this a longer report, and that is basically what shows up in the report, in the dashboard. That's it. That's it.